Kodo was a broke loser who got a job as a sports manager to take care of some hot athletes. But when he finds out they're all freaky, he claps them day and night to make sure they're in peak condition. Everything begins with Kodo trying to get to his new job on time, but he stops when he sees a hot chick fall to her knees. Feeling concerned, he walks up to her and asks what's going on, so she tells him her hips suddenly gave out. Without asking for permission, he gives the affected area a quick massage, and it makes the lady climax at the spot since he's quite skilled with his fingers. But before she knows it, Kodo vanishes, and it hurts her that she didn't get the chance to tell him thank you. Turns out, it's Kodo's first time in the big city, and he's only here because he recently got admitted to the prestigious Seiwa Academy. The school is home to many top-tier students in sports teams that easily win national championship tournaments, with lots of girls being among the elite athletes. Despite all that, Kodo isn't the type who has an interest in sports, as the only thing on his mind is taking up his new job. When he arrives at the place, it dawns on him that he'll become the new caretaker of the dorm building and that he'll be a live-in worker. But he sucks it up because he's a brokey, and he needs something that'll pay his bills. As he approaches the building, he notices that the place is poorly kept and starts getting second thoughts about working there. He lets himself inside and tries calling out to anyone available, but since he gets no response, he assumes no one is home and starts snooping around the place. To his shock, he opens a door and finds a hot chick named Aroma, fresh from the shower. Before he can explain himself, Aroma slaps him in the face and kicks him out, thinking he's the freaky type with no self-control. Scared, Kodo runs for his life and tries to make it out of the building before Aroma can chop off his sausage. But on the way, he crashes into another hottie named Miyuki and falls on her milkers. The first thing he does when he recovers is fondle them milkers. However, Aroma catches up to him, gets the wrong impression when he sees him on top of Miyuki, and sends him flying with a broom. After the crash, Miyuki explains things to Aroma, revealing that Kodo is the new caretaker for the dorm. She adds that he was hired because the previous caretaker quit and tells Aroma to at least be grateful, but the Karen says over her dead body. Miyuki then asks Kodo to introduce himself, so the loser mentions that he's just a student trying to pay his bills rather than the freaky peeking Tom Aroma paints him as. Miyuki apologizes for the misunderstanding and reveals that she's a student of the academy too. Hearing her last name rings a bell as Kodo recalls that she's on the national volleyball team despite being a student. He tells her he's always adored her and that he's one of her biggest fans, and it makes her feel a bit shy. When it's Aroma's turn to introduce herself, she refuses, so Miyuki does the honors, mentioning that she's a basketball player in the academy. Turns out, she's led the school team to 3 national titles already, and though Kodo finds it cool that she's talented, she hates him and wishes he weren't working in her building. As she walks off, Miyuki apologizes for her rudeness, while Kodo sulks because it's his first day and he's already catching hate from one of his clients. Miyuki brushes it off as no big deal and tells him Aroma will come around in time. She tells him the other residents of the dorm will be back from practice soon, but before she can complete her statement, they both hear Aroma screaming from the stairs, and it turns out that she slipped and twisted her ankle. Getting there, Miyuki leaves to get a doctor, while Kodo stays back to help with her pain. He uses his magic fingers to massage her ankle, and just like that, the pain reduces significantly. Despite that, Aroma keeps up with the rude act and slaps his hands off her leg without saying thank you. Still, Aroma insists on talking to her, because he's concerned her injury might cause her to quit playing basketball. Since his parents practice seitai and massage therapy, he claims he knows a thing or two about the human body. By now, they're both in Aroma's room, so she stops to give everything a second thought before going along with what Kodo is offering. Before she knows it, she finds herself lying on her bed, expecting Kodo to ease her pain away.
This is business!
First, Kodo accesses her hips, and from the way he touches them, Aroma realizes that rain will start falling from somewhere if he keeps going like that. When she complains about it, Kodo tells her that her muscles around her hip area are stiff, and it might lead to a serious injury if left unchecked. Shocked, Aroma wonders how he knows about that just from a single touch, so she decides to rely on him a bit more because she feels he might help her stay fit. When she allows him to touch her, he begins with her legs and leans in to flex them multiple times, But for each time, Aroma notices that she's getting closer to Cloud 9. It gets worse when her legs keep pressing against her because it's her sensitive spot. As the culture within her starts to rise, Kodo stretches her to her breaking point, causing rain to start falling, but not from the sky. Funny enough, Kodo doesn't notice all that she's going through because he's only fixated on making her stay fit. So when he's done, Aroma realizes that all that rain and stretching helped with her flexibility, so she thanks Kodo for everything. Deep down, she feels bad thinking she'll need to slow down on training because of her condition, but Kodo tells her he never mentioned that. He gets carried away and holds hands with her, asking her to let him take care of her body and keep her at peak performance, but Aroma slaps his hands off, thinking he wants to use the massage thing as a means to smash. Soon, his father's friend shows up, and it turns out he's the chairman of the academy. The dude introduces Kodo to all the chicks in the dorm and tells them to be good to him. Miyuki takes over and introduces the other girls to Kodo, beginning with herself, then Aroma, then Izumi from the swim team, Ayaba from the soccer team, and lastly, Chiyo from the table tennis team. After that, Kodo tries to chat with the girls, but their reactions only end up scaring him off. Seeing this, the chairman explains that the girls can be a little difficult to work with and warns Kodo to be careful. After all, the previous caretaker only lasted a single day. He then reminds Kodo about their deal regarding the scholarship, making it clear that it will be revoked if he quits his job. Finally, the chairman emphasizes that Kodo's only chance to earn a scholarship to medical school depends on him taking care of the girls and ensuring they graduate from the academy in top mental and physical condition. Hearing this leaves Kodo stunned, but with no other option, he agrees to the terms. The following day, Kodo takes time to study his job description to know what he's supposed to do. After reading everything, he realizes he can cope with his new job since he's already used to doing chores for his parents. First, he starts with cooking breakfast, and once he serves the girls their meal, Aroma gets pissed because he's joining them to eat at the same table. Miyuki tells her she invited Kodo to join them, and she did it because she wants everyone to get along with him since they're in the same academy. Regardless, Aroma says she can't stand eating with Kodo because of what happened yesterday. She reveals that he was peeking at her while she was changing, while Kodo tries to explain that it was an accident. Miyuki tries to calm Aroma down, making her see that Kodo didn't mean what he did, and she brushes off him seeing her without clothes as no big deal. Pissed, Aroma brings up the massage session she had with him, trying to make it look as if he took advantage of her or something. But Miyuki reminds her that she actually felt a lot better when he was done with her. After that, Kodo tells everyone that he's available in case they need anything, but Aroma yells at him again, claiming she cannot accept him working there. Hearing this pisses Ayaba off, especially since Aroma has been the one yelling ever since, so she tells her to shut up and suck it up. Around midday, Kodo proceeds to do the laundry because it's the second thing written in his handbook, and the girls' plot armor are excluded. Before then, he was doing the dishes in the kitchen, and Miyuki joined him to help reduce the workload. She apologized for Aroma's attitude, but what happened between Aroma and Ayaba made him ask if they didn't get along. Miyuki told him they always had arguments because they saw themselves as rivals. It turned out Ayaba was part of a club's youth team overseas until last month, when she came back to Japan, though Miyuki mentioned she had a few issues. Hearing this made Kodo realize that Ayaba was equally as talented as the others, but Miyuki told him she spent a long time abroad, and she might not be used to life in Japan. Currently, Kodo recalls this, but is taken aback when he finds a plot armor lying with the clothes he washed. Coincidentally, Izumi sees him with it and runs off, saying it belongs to Aroma, so he chases after her to prevent her from spreading the news. On the way, she runs into Aroma, who immediately sees that he's holding her plot armor, so she gets the wrong impression and calls him a degenerate loser. After surviving her, he heads off to clean up the building, and while at it, he notices a room and smells as if it's not been cleaned in years. Getting in, he finds the whole place littered with dirt and wonders who made such a mess. He takes a closer look and notices something moving under the sheets, so he gets closer to see what it is. On the way, he trips, falls, and finds himself fondling Chiyo's milk jugs, so the degenerate creep teases him for wanting to smash her already. Shocked, Kodo takes his hands off and tries to explain himself, But before he knows it, Aroma shows up in the room and gets the wrong impression again. This time, she promises to teach him a lesson and decides to summon everyone to an emergency court session. Here, Aroma places Kodo in the spotlight, accusing him of stealing her plot armor, peeking at her while she was dressing up, and attempting to smash Chiyo without consent. To make things worse, Chiyo claims she was assaulted, which makes Aroma decide to fire Kodo and kick him out of the house. Surprisingly, Ayaba steps up for Kodo, explaining that the peeking incident, the mix-up with the laundry, and even the situation with Chiyo were all accidents. Aroma gets furious after hearing this because Ayaba has ruined her plans to get rid of Kodo, while Kodo wonders why Ayaba stood up for him. As for Miyuki, she tells Aroma to apologize to Kodo for falsely accusing him, and after some hesitation, Aroma finally summons the courage to do it. With that settled, Kodo finally gets a breather and retires to his room after finishing all his work. It bothers him that he almost got fired on his very first day, but he can't help wondering why Ayaba defended him. Suddenly, Ayaba shows up in his room, and although he's shocked to see her there, the first thing he does is thank her for saving his job. However, Ayaba takes advantage of the situation by telling him he's indebted to her, and she wants him to pay her back by doing whatever she says. Kodo takes a look and realizes this was what Columbus saw when he first came to America.
Oh my!
But since he doesn't want to lose gallons, he begs her to dress properly. However, Ayaba refuses since she's bent on getting clapped tonight, and she fumbles an excuse of being cold to jump on top of him. While Kodo tries to keep all his cursed energy from getting out, he asks Ayaba why she came into his room, so she tells him it's because she wanted a full-body massage before she goes to bed. Hearing this, Kodo tells her she should have said that when she got in, but she brushes that off and hugs him, telling him she likes taking things slow. She claims she wants to be friends with him because she doesn't have enough friends here in Japan, but Kodo insists she can make friends with her clothes on. After that, she lies still for Kodo to massage her back, and she's amazed by how good he is. Without him doing too much, she gets a bit sensitive and starts wishing she had a certain object to ease herself. But another touch from Kodo's magic fingers makes her shiver at the spot. With that, Kodo ends their massage session and walks out to set a room for her to stretch. But as he leaves, Ayaba gets furious because he didn't fall for her despite all her seduction attempts. As she thinks about it, she vows to make Kodo fall for him using any means necessary. All the while, Kodo is in the kitchen, wondering why Ayaba is being extra clingy with him. He assumes it's because she came in from abroad recently and thinks it's the usual thing there. Ayaba, however, lies in bed, wishing to get some action from Kodo, but she hates that she can't seduce a bum like him because it means she might not be able to get a real boyfriend. Meanwhile, Kodo thinks back and recalls when Miyuki said Ayaba was a piece of work, and starts assuming that Ayaba wants to set him up to lose his job. The realization makes him more cautious of her because he doesn't want to lose his med school scholarship. Soon, he finishes making tea in the kitchen, so when he returns to his room, he's shocked to find Ayaba sitting on his bed in her natural bathing suit. But before something can grow long and hard, he tells her to get some clothes on, but she tells him she's too hot to be wearing anything on her body. Kodo ignores this and gives her the special tea he made and says it'll help her warm up before he starts their stretching session. So she gulps everything and lies in bed for Kodo to do his thing on her body. Without wasting time, Kodo starts stretching her hamstrings, but his mere touch triggers every nerve in her body. As he moves her legs to and fro, he notices she's a little stiff, so he decides to join the other leg so she'll feel at ease. Feeling this, Ayaba finds it hard to breathe as all the culture within her is already rising uncontrollably, so she gives in and tries suffocating Kodo with her milkers. While stuck in between all that milk, Kodo realizes it's a big trap and that he's finished if he loses his cool, so he pulls back and tells Ayaba to stop messing around. However, Ayaba claims she did it because she wanted to show him where it hurts, but deep down, she knows she was trying to make him have a drink. As she lies on her side, she wonders what she'll do to make him fall for her. But as she comes up with something diabolical, Kodo touches a spot that makes her floodgates spiral out of control. Shaking, she begs him to pull his fingers from her back, but Kodo tells her he's just touching her shoulders, and that's when she realizes that she's cooked if she takes the real deal. The next time Kodo touches her shoulders, she manages to take it. But while she does, she sweats bullets, and Kodo tells her it's because of the tea she drank. As he explains that the drink tends to stimulate circulation in the body, Ayaba realizes that her blood flow isn't the only thing being stimulated. Deep down, she wants to beg him to take things slow, but she can't since she doesn't want to come off as weak when she's already plotting to seduce him. Desperate, she goes commando and throws her plot armor on Kodo's face, claiming she did it because she's sweating. Seeing this, Kodo takes an accidental sniff and almost pours all the cursed energy he's been packing for months, but he snaps out of it, insisting on staying professional. Ayaba, however, looks at him and starts thinking she's had him since he's taking too much time to massage her back. But when she tries to pull another freaky move, she realizes Kodo isn't fazed by her plot. Instead, she starts shaking because of all the electricity built up from her neck down to her legs, and wishes Kodo could pause so she could take a breather. However, Kodo takes his session a step further by hitting the spot. As she struggles to breathe, Kodo asks how that felt, but she remains silent since her brain is still trying to recover from what just happened. Before she knows it, Izumi enters the room and freezes when she sees everything, thinking Kodo was smashing Ayaba. Shocked, Kodo explains that he was just stretching Ayaba, but Izumi doesn't believe him since she was hearing Ayaba's happy sounds from the sitting room. Ayaba says she was singing because Kodo's magic fingers feel good, but Izumi claps back, asking why she's not wearing her plot armor. Shy, Ayaba tells her she took it off because she was hot and sweaty, so Izumi writes everything she says in a journal and refuses to explain why she's doing it. As he leaves, Ayaba grows frustrated because she won't be able to face her tomorrow. Plus, her thing with Kodo didn't go as planned. Hearing this, Kodo asks if she was trying to set him up, and the question shocks Ayaba because she wasn't planning to have him fired or anything. Though she doesn't reveal her real intentions, she recons that if Kodo was resisting her because he didn't want to get fired, then she still has a chance with him. She then jugs and tries teasing him a bit more, but calls it quits and decides to wear her clothes. As she leaves the room, she tells Kodo she'll be back for more stretching and that he should do what she says if he wants to keep his job. Hearing this is enough to keep Kodo awake all night because he's scared Ayaba might sneak into his room and jump on his sausage. The following morning, he lies in bed with his sausage in rage mode, and it gets worse when he receives an unplotted picture from Izumi, who asks him to come over to her room. On his way, he wonders why Izumi needs him, and he gets a bit nervous when he recalls she saw what went down with Ayaba last night. But when he gets to her room, he's shocked to find her working on a manga project. Immediately, she apologizes for summoning him out of the blue, and the kind gesture makes Kodo think she isn't going to ask something freaky of him. However, when he asks why she summoned him, she tells him she's been wondering if he's a playboy because he's managed to get an unplotted view of Ayaba despite being in the dorm for only a few days. She accuses him of smashing Ayaba, and though Kodo tells her he was only trying to help Ayaba's stress, she doesn't believe him. Instead, she asks what's special about him that makes it easy for him to get freaky with chicks. So he tells her that it's his magic fingers. As Izumi tries not to think about what those magic fingers do, Kodo offers to demonstrate how they work, but she refuses because she isn't prepared for the inches that come right after. She then reveals that she asked Kodo those questions because she's looking for ideas for her rom-com manga. When she reveals that she plans to quit swimming and focus on manga, Kodo is left completely shocked because his scholarship is off if she quits. Curious, he asks why she wants to quit, so she tells him it's because she's not good enough. She wants to quit if she doesn't win a small competition coming up the next day, because she believes she wouldn't fare well in big games if she doesn't perform well in small competitions like that. After hearing this, Kodo settles to see how well Izumi performs during swimming practice, and after watching for like 10 minutes, he realizes she's got potential. Afterward, he decides to make her his pet project and shows her a weird-shaped hand lotion which he'll use to massage her body. Seeing this, Izumi freaks out because she's not exactly sure how he wants to use the lotion. A while later, she waits for Kodo in the locker room, and when the dude shows up, he tells her to lie flat so he can do his thing. Izumi agrees, but before bending over, she makes it clear that she isn't going to fall for him like Ayaba did. As the massage session begins, Izumi gets scared and asks Kodo why he's using hand lotion, so he tells her it's a scented baby oil and not hand lotion. He claims that the baby oil has a unique scent that helps relax the nerves, relieve stress, and reduce anxiety. Hearing this, Izumi sniffs it, so she's sure she isn't getting drugged or something, and she realizes the baby oil smells nice. Right after, Kodo places a bit of the baby oil in his palm and spreads it around Izumi's body, beginning with her arm. However, since it's Izumi's first time with him, her heart and something else begin throbbing, and she realizes he wasn't playing when he talked about his magic fingers. It gets better when Kodo massages her palm, but she begins to lose touch with her body the moment Kodo gently massages her shoulders. Just like that, something on her chest begins to get hard, but since she can't exactly beg to get tied up and clapped, she holds down all the culture that's rising up her legs until she stops shaking. Eventually, Kodo finishes the massage session, and as he pulls his fingers away from her, she realizes all the pressure points in her hands, legs, and head have been stimulated. However, Kodo tells her that those pressure points he fiddled with won't be enough to get rid of her anxiety, because her mind is always fixated on lots of things whenever she's swimming. He then advises her to clear her mind before any race, but since that can't be helped, he offers to give her one last massage that'll do the trick. However, he feels skeptical about it because the target pressure point lies on her milkers, leaving Izumi completely shocked. In the meantime, while the swimming coach is excited that Izumi's beat her personal best in yesterday's swimming contest, the school's vice principal shows up, asking about Izumi. However, when the coach tells her Izumi is off with Kodo, she starts getting suspicious and aims to see what they do behind closed doors. Back in the room with Kodo, Izumi recalls that she lost her spark for swimming because she was weighed down by other people's expectations. But since Kodo is offering a solution that'll make her perform the way she used to in the past, she allows him to stimulate the pressure point on her chest. Immediately, Kodo takes some of the baby oil and deeply massages the center of her chest, trying to activate the targeted pressure point, and it makes Izumi start shaking. While at it, Kodo makes sure to avoid her milkers, but at some point, Izumi notices that he's holding back and tells him to give her everything he's got. Hearing this makes Kodo flash back to a time when his mother taught him how to stimulate the chest pressure point. Back then, she told him to massage the point like he's massaging the upper body, and make sure his client can't shake off the satisfaction he or she gets from it. After recalling this, Kodo apologizes to Izumi for holding back, so Izumi brushes it off as no biggie and tells him to get on with the massage. Before she knows it, Kodo empties the whole bottle of baby oil on her body and moves straight to activating her milkers. While it goes down, Izumi tries her best to hold all the water in her sprinkler. But when she starts feeling like she's under the ocean, she realizes she doesn't need to resist all the culture that's rising within her body, and allows Kodo to make her reach her breaking point. After the massage, she thanks Kodo for a job well done and tells him she's completely ready for the upcoming race. But before he leaves, she begs him to massage her milkers again just in case she wins the race. Without thinking twice, Kodo agrees to do it, and it makes Izumi happy. A while later, Kodo leaves the room, but bumps into the vice principal on the other side. At first, she teases him for enjoying his time with Izumi because of the happy noises she heard from behind the door. Shocked, Kodo stutters that he was only giving Izumi a massage, but the vice principal cuts in, telling him she's convinced he was clapping her. She then asks him to give her a body massage to prove his innocence. But before that can happen, the swimming coach shows up and informs them that the race is about to start. Hearing this, the lady decides to walk away, but not before telling Kodo that even if he's backed by the chairman, she'll find a way to kick him out of the school if he's dating any chick. Kodo, although shocked, walks out of the building a bit relieved that he isn't clapping or dating anyone. It means he's safe from the crazy vice principal. The following day, while Izumi shows up to train, one of her colleagues compliments her for winning yesterday's race. She then asks about her secret, begging to benefit from it, but the mere thought of Kodo giving her a body massage makes Izumi jealous, and so she refuses to spill the beans. Later that evening, she gets excited over the fact that she beat her personal best again and takes some time off to focus on drawing Kodo's face. Out of nowhere, Kodo shows up and whispers compliments in her ear for performing well in her last race. His sudden presence sends chills down Izumi's spine, and she doesn't notice when Kodo starts another massage session targeting her chest and cake's trigger point. About 5 fingerlings later, Izumi reaches her breaking point, but wakes up and realizes it was all a bizarre wet dream. Even so, she likes it and looks forward to getting another memorable massage experience from Kodo. A while later, everyone gathers in the living room to celebrate Izumi's recent win, where they eat and share a toast. About 5 minutes in, Miyuki tastes the food and realizes that it's delicious, so she compliments Kodo for his cooking. However, Ayaba claims she helped him cook and tries to take credit for it, but Aroma cuts in and tells her to shut it because she can't cook. Izumi tastes the food and compliments Kodo's cooking, as well as Chiyo, who finds it weird that he's a good cook. Kodo explains that he used to help his aunt in her restaurant, which backs up his cooking skills, but this makes Aroma wonder what other skills he has up his sleeves. Seconds later, Ayaba starts hyping Kodo for being resourceful, but it pisses Aroma off because she's being too clingy with Kodo. While they argue, Chiyo compliments Izumi for winning her last race, but gets curious and asks how she managed to do it. Izumi replies that Kodo gave her a massage that helped clear her mind, and she turns to Kodo to thank him again for the help. Seeing this makes Miyuki wonder what kind of massage Kodo gave Izumi. But before Kodo can tell her he massaged Izumi's milkers, Izumi covers his mouth and tells him to keep what happened between them a secret. Afterward, Kodo notices that Ayaba hasn't touched her food, so he becomes concerned and asks what's up. Ayaba tells him she'll only eat her food if he's the one putting it in her mouth, and when Kodo tries to resist, she reminds him he's meant to do whatever she tells him. However, when Kodo finally agrees to do it, Izumi and Aroma get jealous because he's being too close to Ayaba. As everyone finishes their food, Chiyo starts complaining about her heavy eyes, and it's thanks to her bad gaming habits. When Aroma points out that she didn't sleep last night, Miyuki calls her out for ditching yesterday's practice to play video games, and Kodo overhears this. So at night, he heads to Chiyo's room while she's gaming and decides that he'll help her win the game so she'll be able to sleep that night. He tells her he's helping because he needs to create an environment where she and the other housemates can focus on sports, and he needs her to sleep on time so she won't cancel tomorrow's practice. When Chiyo asks how he's going to help her, Kodo replies that he'll massage her to make her feel more relaxed, so Chiyo smiles and looks forward to it. However, her face changes when Kodo mentions that he'll be massaging her armpits because she's extremely sensitive in that part. As Kodo walks over to her bed to set it up for their massage session, he realizes she hasn't cleaned her room in decades and calls her out for it. Rather than feel embarrassed, Chiyo gaslights him into cleaning up her room, and the airhead loser falls for it. While he's cleaning up, Chiyo asks who he likes between Izumi and Ayaba, because she knows both girls have a thing for him. Hearing this makes Kodo panic because the vice principal from yesterday threatened him about having any illegal relationship with any of the girls. Chiyo tells him to be careful because if he keeps leading the girls on, they'll fall in love with him. As he hears this, he acts defensive and mentions that he isn't leading them on. But Chiyo cuts in and tells him she's free if he's down because she's been cultured by lots of guys, and she's got experience. However, Kodo skips that and cuts straight to the massage session, where he begins massaging Chiyo's neck. As he proceeds further, he realizes Chiyo's muscles are perfectly proportioned, but notices that her shoulders are stiff. As a result, he tells her to lie on her side and proceeds to massage her armpit. But when he stretches her out, she starts laughing because she's ticklish there. However, she starts complaining when Kodo focuses on a spot because she's in pain. Kodo tells her he isn't being hard on her and that she's only feeling pain because he's massaging a spot that can relieve the tension in her neck and shoulder. Chiyo complains that she can't stand the pain, but Kodo counters and tells her he knows she wants to quit her gaming habit. He tells her he's aware she takes her physical fitness seriously because she's blessed in the front and back with nicely shaped muscles in the right areas, and that no one can maintain such a summer body without consistent training. He also mentions that he knows she can't quit gaming because she is naturally competitive and wants to win, so he compliments her for it. However, he begs her to bear with the massage pain a little, at least until he's done. That's the end of today's video. If you stayed until now, comment down below "sweet plot" and leave a like if you want part 2. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and check out the next video. It might just be your new favorite anime recap.